Oh, well, hello, you guys. Welcome to Dog Hugs. Great to see you today, Robbie, Geraldine. How are you guys doing?
Great seeing you, Larry. We're loving the weather over here in the Midwest.
Wow.
How are you?
Well, it's
beautiful.
Nice and toasty out here outside Spider's window here. Come on, buddy. Want to come up? Give us a hug here?
Nice.
All the way. Good boy. Come on. Up. There you
I'm glad
go, buddy.
I'm really impressed he still likes us.
With all this extra training that's been going on to convert him from Spider, the naughty trick dog, to Spider, the trick dog. Yes. So we're still working with his busy box here. I'm going to get him started here.
Robbie, how's your weather? Is it better today?
You know, actually, yesterday was like the close to 100 heat index with the humidity. It rained overnight, and today it's like mid 70s with this amazing breeze. It's so nice.
Oh, nice.
Very happy
today. And rain or shine, Spider and his busy box are best buds.
They sure are. So today we're going to talk about the dog's nose and how powerful our sense of smell is going to be. And in a little bit, we're going to bring on a wonderful trainer, Catja Pedersen, all the way from Denmark, who's going to talk with the smell. So the dog's nose, this guy's nose. Come here, you little knucklehead.
Especially Spider's nose. Spider has a nose.
I'm gonna bring your towel, buddy. All right, we're going to have to put you outside. Come on, go get it.
Like, where's my snack?
Good boy.
He's like, why isn't Dad listening to me right now? Why is Dad ignoring me right now? I'm not having the same effect I used to. Where's that Geraldine girl? I know she's around. Let's get her off this right now.
Yes. So the dog's nose is 10,000 times more powerful than our nose. I mean, it's really hard to conceive of what does 10,000 times more powerful mean? Well,
and that's a minimum.
At a minimum, right. Some even say it's up to 100,000, but they've done actually studies that show that it's about at least 10,000. That's, as an analogy, many of us have vocabularies way in excess of 10,000 words, while a dog's vocabulary, at least in our language, might be, if they have a great vocabulary, 100 words. So that helps us to begin to understand their power of smell. If we were to think about that as sight, if Robbie holds up like 3 fingers and I'm, a foot away and she asks, how many fingers am I holding up? I can see that, a foot away or a yard away. Yeah. But if I go all the way across the football field, can I still see those 3 fingers? Well, what if I go now a few miles away? I mean, that's an analogy of 10,000 times more powerful. So the way smell works is the air comes in and it goes to 2 places. It goes to our lungs, into our respiratory system, and it goes into our brain, our olfactory system. Now, the dog is engineered so brilliantly because it's not just got these holes, these nostrils, but if you notice there are these slits on the side, they serve a really important purpose. And that's for letting the air out. You see, when the air goes out in our noses, it blocks air from coming in. But dogs, the air goes out these slits on the side, and then air can keep coming in so that those receptors inside the nose can be focused on just smelling when smells come in. So, and not only that, but those slits on the side create these wind tunnels, these aerodynamic spaces, so that kind of circular breathing can really work for dogs. We don't have that. Not only that, but dogs have a smelling gland that we don't even have. It's called the vomeral nasal gland. Yes, there will be a quiz at the end of the show.
How do you spell that?
Keep notes, people.
Yeah, that's right. BOMERO, nasal gland. It's also called Jacobson's gland. And that helps them smell pheromones. Geraldine, take it away.
Oh, and we all live on pheromones. Pheromones are a part of all of our lives. You can't really get around it. When a pet smells a pheromone from another pet, say when they're out on a walk and that pet is stressed because it saw another dog or maybe a coyote or who knows what, well, that dog might go pee in that area and leave some pheromones that are stress pheromones. And then when your dog comes along and smells it, goes up into his nose, that pheromone attaches to a receptor that is attached to some parts of their brain that alarm them and say, ooh, there's danger here. We need to go. That dog might pee, leave its mark to say stay away. It also might go, I'm not going to pee now. Let's get out of here. It's not safe. And can have all kinds of other reactions behaviorally based off of that, and consider the fact that that animal is not neutered because it's a wild animal and maybe your pet isn't either. So that elicits even more response in them. So it can become an alarming mess in their head if they don't communicate with you well and understand what's going on.
Yeah, that is really great. So pheromones, at least as I understand it, Geraldine, there's like two big, pardon me?
They're hormones.
Or hormones. There's two big categories. I've got fear ones, dogs have fear ones, and dogs have love ones. I mean,
just like us.
Just like us. And they're really aware of it. It's like they have 10,000 words equivalent of smell distinguishers.
Well, that's how they communicate. And that's how they communicate with not only each other, but their environment. And they don't speak. Well, they speak to me. People tell me dogs speak to me, but I think they speak to me. So that's the way they communicate with everything around them.
Dogs say, we don't need no stinking words. Emphasis on the stinking.
I have a question, Geraldine. So you had written a blog post on your website before about checking your vibe. So if I come home in a bad mood, there's one vibe, but am I putting off like some sort of a scent or a pheromone that my dog is going to smell in addition to seeing me stomping around, that they're going to go, let's get away from her for a while?
Even if you didn't stomp around, Robbie, even if you walked in the door very angry about something that just happened or happened that day or is happening, a longer occurring event, you walk in the door and you have not really changed the way that you feel inside, that dog can smell it. It's coming out under your armpits. It's coming out through your breath. It's coming out through your skin because your skin does breathe. So if in everything you wear, it's soaking into your clothes. That's why sometimes a dog will eat your washcloth or something else because you've left maybe even stress pheromones on that or your pheromones on that, and the dog gets comforted or something by eating that. So does that make sense in terms of?
So that's why you wrote that article about checking your vibe, because even if I'm not mad and stomping, they still smell that there's something not right with my feelings.
So you're communicating to them that you're stressed and you're trying not to, but it literally does become a check-in system. So it's a great blog to read in terms of how to check how you really feel before you walk in smelling all stressed, but looking happy. So now you've given them mixed messages, and depending on where they come from, then they're either going to want to protect you or jump up and kiss you or go chew on something else that, once again, ends up chewing your wallet.
That is interesting. I just found the blog post. We'll share that about your vibe so that your pet doesn't go crazy when you come home.
All right. Well, it's time to bring on our guest, Catja Pedersen, and coming to us, all the way from Denmark. So Catja is an internationally renowned dog trainer who, by the way, teaches classes online, and we'll share those links with you. Catja trains dog trainers and canine pros all over the Western world. She and I met at the end of February, seems like eons ago, when we were both speaking at the SICA conference in Mexico City. Catja Pedersen also teaches nose work with dogs, and that's what we're going to talk about today, including border detection dogs. And today, Catja will share with us some basics into getting started with nose work. So welcome to Dog Hugs, Catja Pedersen. Yay!
Big.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Catja, what time is it in Denmark right now?
9 o'clock in the evening.
9 o'clock in the evening, yes. Now, I'm seeing on the edge of the screen the ear of one dog. Who's that?
This is Dixie. He's an Australian Coolie. Yeah, my youngest dog.
Yes.
He's watching very carefully because he can hear Spider.
Oh, can you hear that? Yeah, it's Spider's a little noisy, even on the other side of the door there. Yeah.
Spider likes being naughty.
He does like being naughty. Yeah.
And Catja, we love your name. I just, it's a great name. It couldn't be more fitting. It's and we're so happy to have you here with us.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Unfortunately, I haven't read that blog post, but I can't wait to read it.
Yes.
Good.
So I'm going to share with the folks, and why don't you talk about what this is about here? This is dog detection.
Yeah. So what we were going to talk, or what we talked about it, we were going to talk about today was the indication in nose work, how we could get like a passive indication. And this is from a dog handler that allowed me to borrow the image of your dog doing a passive indication in a container search.
So we did a container search for some scent that the dog has been trained to tell you, to tell the handler, I smell this particular scent.
Yeah, so this is a drug detection dog who's indicating that he found drugs in that box.
Yes.
And he's doing a passive indication.
Yeah. So here's another one. And what are we seeing here?
Well, this is dog and handler being in the back of a truck, checking out if there's somewhere that they could have hidden drugs. It's also a crucial part of training these dogs, that they are used to going into strange places. This just seems like an empty space that should be safe to walk into, but many dogs will be very afraid because the floor is slippery. The sound when they're walking in there makes weird noises. And so just to do some training and teach the dog that it's okay to walk in pretty much any environment.
Right.
For instance, they wanted to do a big search here, and they would also have to teach the dog to be lifted, to be comfortable searching while he is up in the air on the handler's arms. So there's a lot of stuff that you need to do extra. Yeah, there's a picture of a dog being lifted and doing an indication. So the dog needs to be comfortable searching when he's on the arm, which is something you have to work very hard on. Most dogs will just normally tense up when you lift them up. So these handlers, they are doing really good training to make sure the dog's comfortable with that.
And then so you're looking all over. Here's a ship and a shipyard all over the place.
Yeah, so this seems just like a picture of some stairs, and it is. But what you might be able to see is that the stairs are see-through. So when you go up, you can see the ground underneath, and it's very high. So this is a very scary setting for a dog to walk up and down these stairs. So this dog comes down.
Between these risers, there are no, between these treads that the dog stands on, there are no risers.
No, that's not.
Wow, that does sound scary.
Yeah, and it's a far way down. So this is on a ship. So every time that you have to search a ship, you would usually have to go up and down these stairs.
Right. Yeah, great. Let's get into doing some nose work with Cody. Okay?
Yeah.
Just when we thought they were just so cute and all we wanted to do was squeeze them and boop them, right? Now we find out how smart that nose really is.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of impressive, as you were talking about earlier, what the dog's nose is capable of doing. It surprises me on a regular basis how well they can do with finding basically everything. As the situation now, we've seen some studies where they're teaching the dogs to find the COVID-19 virus, which is pretty amazing that they're able to do that. So I guess the only limit would be our fantasy.
Very good. Let's get into showing the folks some basic training about some scent dog training. And this is, folks, this is Cooley actually being trained to do this work. Isn't that right, Catja?
Yeah, it is. Let me just turn the screen for you here.
Yep. Wow, it's still light outside at 9 o'clock.
Wow.
It's being summer. So let me see. Are you able to hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Good. So this dog knows a hand target, a regular hand target, which is what I'm going to try to transfer into some sort of an indication. So where I would start if I wanted the passive indication was just to do a few hand targets, and the reward for that here. And then I would try to get a bit of duration in there. Just
notice she's using her clicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, folks, a clicker is a way that Catja is telling Cooley, yes, is marking the exact behavior that Catja wants.
Yes. So now I've established that he's able to do a hand target and I can get some duration. I might even want to try, can I get some duration while I'm doing distractions? So I'm having a treat in my hand here, trying to see, will he go for it? Nope. Good. So I switch over to a tiny box who has some scent in it. And I will actually just see if he will target that. So I have to start with him just putting his nose forward because he wasn't really targeting it. Good.
Thank you. Sit.
Fine. Good. So what I would do now is I would move fairly quickly from that. So as soon as he were able to target the scent, I would put it in a bigger container that has hole in it so he can smell it. And I would see if I could transfer my target to that, because hopefully we will be able to get him to do an indication when I put it on the heater here.
The reason why she uses a bowl like that is to help him get the scent in the sides of his nose faster for faster recognition and training right now.
Catja, what is the scent that you are using?
Well, this is just lavender.
Got it, lavender.
And that actually helps him calm while he's while he's training, which is a dual benefit.
Oh, that's smart.
Because the more calm he is, the better a job he can do with recognition and focus for her when they're out where there's tons of distraction. Even though, as she mentioned, he's well trained for distraction so he can do his job. She's training him at this point to be calm while he learns his job. He's showing off now, but while in training, helps him be a calmer dog to have a better performance.
Yeah, right.
Brilliant. And she's not holding it anymore, so it's now attached to the wall, because everything that she will point him to scent detect will be in an object she won't be touching.
Yeah, so what I ideally want him to do is to go there on his own. Like that. So this would just be a way of starting him off to do some passive indication. What I could do now is I could see if I prove it a bit, if he would be stronger enough. Okay, so this was just if you want to do a passive indication. At first, I would usually do it without scent, like just wanted to show you this tool if anyone wants to do nose work and teach them passive indication. But if you're struggling with getting duration behavior in your hand target, often it can be difficult to get the dog to hold the position for more than just a second. You can use something like this. Because, well, it's just from a hardware store. I guess it's something you use if you're really handy and can build stuff in your home. I can't.
Yeah, it's for plumbing.
Good. I just bought it for dog training purpose.
Very good.
I think we could try is to see if he would target this one. Because I'm thinking if you get to put your nose into something, it might be easier. And what the benefit is of this one is that it comes down here, so I can actually put the treat in here.
Oh, that's brilliant, Catja. Brilliant thinking.
He's so smart.
The reward would come from where the scent was the strongest. If there was a scent in here right now, it's just indication. So I guess this could be a few ways of just starting up if you want to have a passive indication on your dog. Seems like being able to put your head into something, your nose into something, helps with the duration behavior. I guess it's because it's, well, I don't know if it's kind of when you put your hole into something, they will hold it for a bit longer.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And it's a brilliant idea, that pipe.
There are many times that dogs have to put their noses into places that they cannot see well. We don't want them to be afraid of that.
Yeah. So is this a reward, or is this a scent thing that you're doing with this toy?
This was just for him if he wanted to play, but he seems to want the treats unless I'm active. So it's interesting if I'm playing with him. If I'm not playing with him, it's probably not as exciting. Or maybe it is. Let's see. Oh, no. So yeah, I kind of need to hold it for him to find it interesting. So this was just a way for me to say end of session. I would usually just do very short sessions with this. And usually again start off with the way I would teach the indication at first. Now today I had lavender in, would be having nothing in there. So I would teach the behavior first, being able to do a passive indication on just an empty box, and then I would add the scent, because then the behavior would already be known and it would be easier to do some sort of back chaining to get a proper indication that way.
I love how you are emphasizing a short training session and getting some progress, not trying to train the whole thing, but really focusing on just a few minutes and being able to do that. That's a great reminder for us.
Yeah. I almost forgot, give the dog, I would always prefer to give the dog something if I'm doing a session at home that tells him session is over, but it's not a punishment. I'm not walking away from you. You get something that is equally as reinforcing as training with me, hopefully. You get something that you can calm down with, you can make some treats out of that, and it's still a good time, so that it's not being a punishment that I'm stopping the training.
Yes.
Right.
I want to show a couple of more videos that you've shared with us. And this is some training where the dog is now learning, now getting rewarded.
Yes.
So the dog's reward was getting the tennis ball for having found the scent. So it's a game.
So what we see is this dog, this is Pablo. He is running. He's just at that point, we are working with teaching him a passive indication, but not touching it. So being 5 centimeters from the scent. So when he's standing still, his handler Jesper is really good at throwing the ball exactly where the scent is. If you have the skills to do that, it's amazing to do that. I don't. I'm terrible at that, but he's really good at it. So that worked out really well.
Well, here's another one.
That's always a bonus.
Yeah. So this is Basil. He's a tobacco dog, and he is to show you a passive indication how it would look like. So he's telling that there is tobacco in that closet. So you can see he's standing completely still apart from the tail, which is completely fine. We like a wagging tail.
He's supposed to be standing just like that. Great.
You can tell by his tail wag and his body language, he has found what he was asked to find, and he knows a reward's coming. So he's all giddy because he's done his job properly. And that's something that has been repeatedly trained into him over these sessions, these short bursts of sessions often, so it becomes part of his DNA, part of his purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. He's just waiting for her to click. She's clicker training the dog, so he's just waiting. If it's hard here to zoom in, but usually if we zoom in on these passive indications, you would see their ears turning. So I would say if I work on this with this dog for a while and do a passive indication, send you a video, you would be able to see him standing in front of me and his ears turning towards me to hear if I'm clicking.
Yeah, and here's another one. Here, this is you, right?
Oh yeah, this was actually just the first session, so they're in a mixed order, but this was the first session this dog had with.
So it's very similar to what we just saw with Cooley.
Yeah, this is just that distance. This is just it's already being placed there because we're working on him not turning around towards the handler, so having focus. So I'm clicking right as he has focus, and it's having that second of stillness.
I love your voice rewarding. I love how it
great tone.
Yeah.
And great body language. Wonderful.
It was interesting to see. I'm going to roll this back. Look how close Catja is to the dog here and how it's easier for the dog. But once Catja just steps, even just a few steps away, it becomes harder. Your left foot is forward, it's easier, but now you're farther away, it becomes harder.
But actually the left foot is forward. That's a really good observation. I usually always put one foot forward because if I don't, it looks a lot like if I'm standing completely straight, a lot of dogs will go into heel position. So it will put to a fixed position, which is why I'm always standing super casual when I'm trying to indicate that you don't need to be around me in any specific position right now. So that was a really good observation. You figured out my cue.
You look like you're in motion as opposed to static.
Yeah.
Great.
Great work.
Let's see. What am I trying to do? There we go. That's what I'm trying to do. So, Catja, as you know on this show, this is so much about shelters, and we love to give shelter shout outs. I know there's a couple of organizations that you'd love to give shelter shout outs to.
Yeah. Well, first of all, as I said, I don't know many of the shelters in the US because I haven't been there as many times, but I had the pleasure of doing a workshop at an awesome shelter in January, which was the Marine Humane.
Yes. Yeah. Northern California.
Yeah. It was, first of all, it was amazing. People working there, they were so kind. They were taking such good care of their animals. We were lucky enough to get a tour of the shelter and see the animals and learn what they were doing and how they were getting a high adoption rate and all the good stuff they were doing. It just seemed like a really amazing place, and I loved it there. So I wanted to give them a shout out. I think they're doing an amazing job.
That's beautiful. And then who in Denmark would you love to give a shout out to as well?
Well, so the name would be in Danish, but Fyns Internat, Dyrenes Beskyttelse. It's a shelter in Denmark who helps all sort of animals, that needs help. They take in if there has been cruelty cases, if people have to hand over their dogs, if they can't take care of them anymore, or other animals. They are doing an amazing job, and I love that they are doing so much enrichment for all the animals. Having very skilled trainers help the dogs to get more likely to be adopted, and they're just doing a wonderful job.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I want to give them a shout out.
Yeah, and Catja, as you know, this show is a lot about gratitude, especially in these times. And who in your life or in the world would you love to extend a blessing to or show some gratitude to?
Well, there could be a ton of people, but actually in these times that we are in right now, what I've really enjoyed over the past months is seeing the animal training community come together. creating so many amazing resources that are available online when everybody has to stay home. So many learning opportunities and sharing all their knowledge and their wisdom so that we all can be better trainers and learn for them. So I wanted to give a huge shout out to everyone who's putting their knowledge out there for us to learn.
Beautifully said. Yes.
Totally.
Well, Catja Pedersen, thank you so much for being with us today on Dog Hugs.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
All right, you bet. All
Thank
right.
you
Take care, my friend.
so much for all you do.
That was great. Yeah.
If I were a cat right now, I'd say me, wow. But we're talking about dogs. However, wow.
What did you think, Robbie?
You know, I had a few questions as I was sitting here doing all the tech in the background that I would love to be able to ask if I can. I'd love to.
Yeah, go ahead. What would you like to ask, Catja? Catja, we're going to bring you back for an encore. Robbie's got a question for you.
I think I have 3. So I guess, first of all, can any dog do a scent? I mean, do that kind of work? I mean, I've got 2 poodles and a golden doodle. Are there certain breeds that are better at it than others or more suited to it than others?
Well, depends on which type of work you're doing. If you're thinking nose work, any dog could do it. If you are thinking about having a working dog who needs to find something where it's really important that it actually finds it, the main criteria is that you have a, I call them reward junkie.
Okay.
So that is really so a dog that will take food for you or toys from you so that you are able to reward the behavior. And of course, the size of the dog, if you need to be able to lift the dog, if he needs to go into small places, has something to say. But in general, you could work with big dogs, small dogs. All dogs has the ability to do it, but some dogs will be easier to train because it will be easier for you to reinforce their behavior.
Okay.
And Catja, before you go on to the next question, Robbie, let's push the pause button 1 second. Catja, wouldn't you agree that the communication aspect is one of the most important, maybe right below willingness to work for food? Will work for food and then can communicate with you so they can tell you what they smell. They can learn how to understand the training and make the connection to be able to tell you, yes, Mom, I just found drugs in your son's bag, or I just found. Just kidding. But you see what I'm saying in terms of if you're going to connect the training with the pet that has a great nose, if they don't get the communication with you, that their talents can't be utilized. Does that make sense?
Yep, that does.
Yeah, it does. In the end, when we teach them an indication, it's just a behavior. It's just a passive indication. So if we are able to teach them that, any dog should be able. But I would rephrase what you're saying and say that some dogs would not be as willing to do this behavior because there would be competing reinforcers. They might be more distracted because something is happening, so they won't give us the clear information or communication to us. So what you generally see will be Labradors, Malinois, Spaniels, Doodles, actually, different kinds. So I have yet to see a Basset Hound do it, I must admit. But I would love to see it if anybody has a Basset Hound doing scent work. I would love to see that.
And then
I would love to see that too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Robbie.
The question was, when you're training the dogs, do they get trained like you'll have one dog that might sniff drugs and another dog that might sniff tobacco and another dog that, I don't know what else they might sniff. So do they learn like a specific thing, or when you take them in, do they get to smell what you want them to look for, then you let them go? Do you know what I'm asking?
That's a really good question. And it's actually, so the one thing is that it's different from country to country.
Okay.
Some countries would teach one dog to search for one thing and another dog to search for something else. But again, when I say one thing, it would be for drugs, for instance, but then there would be several types of drugs.
Okay.
Or it could be for money, but again, there's several types of money that they need to search for. So each dog would have more scents that they need to indicate at. Some places they do that a dog can do all the different kinds of drugs plus tobacco or plus doping or plus, well, whatever, weapons, whatever you search for. So it's different what they do, but no matter what they are searching for, there will be more than one scent that they need to search for.
I wondered about that.
An example, Robbie, a quick example, Robbie, is my dog is scent trained for me for hypoglycemia. So if I get low blood sugar, he lets me know. Now, I also am planning to train him as a COVID detection dog because I fly so much, he can detect COVID in me when I come home from my trips. But if I spread him too thin, then I don't want to confuse him. I really like to keep his focus on one or two things to know that he will be 100% on those as opposed to too many things at once. And that's just my caveat. And she's right. Every country's different, but every dog is different.
True.
So,
and then my last question is just kind of for fun. So I have my one mini poodle absolutely loves to dig around and find treats. So I will hide treats around the house. I have little food puzzles for her. I mean, that's something that obviously she loves and she does on her own. So I have to assume that that's kind of an enrichment for her, even though she's never going to be, a professional. But I mean, that's just something that it seems like maybe a lot of dogs like that. Enjoy that, I guess.
I don't think I've ever met a dog who didn't enjoy searching for food. I would personally say my personal opinion is ditch the food bowl. Let the dog search for all the food. Either put it in the garden or anything. Put a flower in the food bowl instead, and then let the dog do different types of tasks for the food.
That's what we did to Spider.
Never thought about that, but thank you for answering the question.
A wonderful question here from Kathy Ann is asking, how long is training for a dog to be an expert at sniffing out these scents? How would you answer that? How would you answer Kathy Ann here, Catja?
Well, so depending, if we say that the dog already has indication that is fluent, so fluent in the behavior we want as the indication, you could probably put the scents on quite quickly, depending on what scents you need to work on. I would say a few weeks, months for each scent, depending on how much training you're doing. So it's fairly quickly. If you have the indication at first, if you have to teach the indication while you are teaching the scent, it will take a bit longer. But if you make sure you have the indication first, it won't take very long to teach the scent.
Got it. Well, thank you again, Catja, for being with us.
You're very much. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Take care, my friend. Great. All right.
Great question.
Yeah, we've got some wonderful stuff going on with the audience in addition to Kathy Ann's. We've got some hellos coming in from Spider and from Carol Ann. Hello, Carol Ann. And
hi, Carol Ann.
From Saginaw. And Bailey Blackstone. Great to see you. Who else? Oh, we missed Sarah's comment. He's very smart. Yes. Hello from Albert Carpenter. And Albert Carpenter's cat, or maybe Albert Carpenter is a cat. Welcome.
Let us know where you're from.
Yeah, great to see you. And my brother Mike. Thank you so much for coming in, Mike. You're looking very stylish in that mask there, my brother. Yeah, great to see you. Shelter shout outs. Anybody got a special one you want to give a shout out to today?
St. Louis Scottish Terrier Rescue, one of my favorites. I'm going to give a shameless plug for my cousin Amy Chata, who has been involved in pets, dogs as pretty much as long as I have. Only I'm a little older, so I'm longer. And she has helped maintain the Scottish Terrier breed she shows all the time up until now that they've paused. And also they raise money and they help rescue terriers, Scottish Terriers, and they're transporting them all across the country. So all those ladies involved in the rescue, amazing. Amazing. Dogs, amazing. Fostered, all of them.
Anybody on your mind today, and your heart today, Robbie?
You know, we have our local shelter here in Albion. It's called PAWS, P-A-W-S, obviously. And, you know, I love that they're so active on social media and they show the animals like outdoors. Somebody's out walking the dogs or the cats are playing around. I love seeing that rather than seeing, you know, the poor animal behind the cage looking at you out of the grate. So it's like, I really want to give a shout out to them because they really, you know, show the animals like in the best light. So I appreciate
They're sensitive. They're sensitive. I love that.
You know, it's not like the commercial that makes you cry because all those poor animals. They make it happier.
It is good to make it happier.
Oh,
well,
we've
folks,
got Joanne here. She was here on Crimeless Cat yesterday, talking about her cat Charlie, and she's here today talking about her dog.
I wish the technology allowed us to show the images on screen that you're sharing. Well, folks, you can see those right there in the Facebook chat.
Yep.
You'll be able to see. Thanks, Joanne. Great to see you with us. And,
thank you, Joanne.
And Sarah's, I'm a dog person who loves dogs. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Sarah.
Wonderful.
My shelter shout out, you know, probably no surprise today, is going to go once again to Pet Orphans for bringing this guy here home. As we get closer to 4th of July, we'll say more about how I adopted him off of the 4th of July film set. And that's right, Spider. That was you, right? Good boy. Yeah.
And speaking of 4th of July, aren't you and Geraldine working on something to help us pet parents with animals who might lose their minds when the fireworks go off?
Yeah. Well, let's since we're already running a bit long on this show, let's get to that, you know, on tomorrow's show. But please, Robbie, do post that wonderful link for that article that you wrote on our blog.
I just did.
Excellent piece. Yeah, folks. And yes, throughout the rest of these weeks leading up to July 4th, we're going to help folks be safe for that. My blessing today goes to my sister Leslie, who also studies the nose and the brain and is now trying to help understand that with COVID. And she's really trying to understand and has dedicated her career to understanding how we process smells in the brains. Amazing stuff. So blessings to Leslie. And I'm so grateful that on Thursdays, she hosts a family live Zoom call with our family.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's so sweet.
My brother Mike, who you just saw on the show, and my parents, and we'll see who other family members show up. Yeah, great. Either of you want to give a blessing gratitude?
Fitting for today, I would like to give a huge shout out to all of the dog trainers out there that are currently training COVID sniffing dogs and all the dogs that are going through the training. I don't think there are very many, I'll call them lay people out there that understand exactly how many hours go into training those dogs and all the work that is involved with training those dogs to detect those scents right now, and any of them, a drug detection dog, a bomb sniffing dog, you name it, even a therapy dog, how many hours actually goes into that training.
Yeah.
So thank you so much to the dogs and the people for helping find a solution that again nature's giving us, has right here for us.
Beautiful. Yeah. Amen. Robbie.
You know, I think I'm grateful for the people who even know enough to know that dogs can do all of this. It's like there's just so many things. Like Larry, I had no idea that there was that much going on inside a dog's nose. I mean, I knew that they could smell more than we could, but I didn't realize all the science behind it. And I love the people that train the dogs because I feel like there's a lot of things that they do that I don't even know about, that make me safer somehow in the grander scheme of the world that I don't even know.
Oh, that's beautifully said. Well,
Beautiful.
folks, and we're so grateful to all of you for being part of the show. We really love having you on the show. Let's see, we've got a few more last minute comments coming in. Let's see. Kathy Ann, Spider's such a sweetheart. Hey, you hear that? You've got a fan, Spider.
He is such a sweetheart.
Yes. Thanks, Robin. Thanks, Robbie. Thanks, Robin. Okay, we'll go with going Robin. Robbie. Yeah.
Robin Robbie.
And keep pets away from loud noises. That's a great advice for the 4th of July. Thank you very much, Albert. Yeah. And Joanne is in St. Paul. At Sadie Wisconsin Humane Society. And what's MADAC? Milwaukee Area Dog something. Athletic. MADAC, from MADAC.
Alphabet soup, but it's important. So thank you for all that you did to help save Charlie.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Spider.
All right, you guys. Come on, Spider. One last hug, my friend. Yeah.
Big old hug.
All right, bye, you guys. Love you all.
Everybody.
Tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.